All right, let's start. You all can get started on projects. So today is the project start. It's going to run for 2 weeks till the 1st. So actually it gets delivered on the 6th, the day of the final, but all the cutting's got to be done by the 1st. So if you can cut before the 1st, that's going to be to your benefit, but there's not many in the class anyway. So you probably can cut on the 1st, that'll be fine. So let's look at this project. It's similar to the 120 project if you have me for 120, but I don't know that either one of you do, right? No, okay. So it's a little different because this one gets to use AutoCAD. In ET120, they have to draw it by hand if they don't know AutoCAD. So that's less exciting. Let's look at the document. So I put up a video from last year. So this video lecture is from last year. Then this lecture will go up also. But if you don't know what to do, like it's going to be a project that has 8 unique pieces. Okay. And if you watch this old video, I actually show you some projects that are done with the laser cutter. There's hundreds out there, and you feel free to look on the internet and steal a design from the internet. That's fine too. But if you want to do a lamp project, I have these lamp kits, right? So I'll give you the lamp kit and then you design a desk lamp for that light bulb and this wire system. This is not what we're looking for. A student did this, right? This is not what we're looking for. We're looking for something that snaps together, right? That's closer to what we're looking for, but it's not very good either because it didn't go together real well at all, right? And then they glued the heck out of it. So it's pretty not pretty. But that's the concept, right? Is to create this structure out of flat pieces because we're going to laser cut them and put them together. So no, it doesn't have to be a lamp. It can be anything you want. If you're struggling to come up with something, you can do a lamp. I have those lamp things. It can be anything. I've had students do clocks, like functioning clocks. Yeah, I've had students go pretty crazy. I'm not asking for that. I'm only asking for 8 pieces, right? But when you look online at laser cut projects, there are some crazy ones. So this is the document that I put up. You can read it on your own, but really the requirements are kind of right here in the middle. It must have 8 unique parts. So it can't be one part that is repeated 6 times, right? 8 unique parts. They're supposed to snap together. Once you get them together, if it's a little loose, we can touch it with a little bit of glue. That's fine to hold it together. It's got to have those interlocking features. So the slots and tabs and slots are probably the easiest way to interlock, but there are other ways to do it. You can look online to see those. The drawing package is the AutoCAD piece, right? You're going to create a working drawing set. So we've done details, which is one part on one piece of paper, front, top, side view with dimensions. That's really called a detail of a single part. We're going to add to it an assembly drawing, which is going to be the top of your working drawing set. Okay, so I need to talk about assembly drawings, but really you're creating this drawing set. That's the AutoCAD piece, and then one file that is the cut patterns for cutting it out. And we're going to use the 3/16 material, and it's 16 by 24. So your cut pieces need to fit on a 16 by 24 piece, right? That makes sense. All right. So you're going to make this drawing package. You're going to come up with your unique design, some kind of unique design. I'm going to show you basically what a assembly drawing is. So in AutoCAD, an assembly drawing, you can draw it 3-dimensionally in AutoCAD if you want, because we can actually switch the axis of the grid to isometric. And then when you draw a straight line, it'll draw a straight line. And normally it's off to about 30 degrees, right? So you can kind of sketch in AutoCAD if you want to make your assembly drawing look like this. It's pretty difficult in AutoCAD. Like it's not a great 3D package. So the other way that you can show your assembly is in this kind of a view, which is a section view. That's where you take your assembly and you kind of cut it in half and you identify each piece with hatch patterns or no hatch pattern at all, right? So whatever makes sense for the drawing. And then you create names for each piece. A lot of times it's just A, B, C, D, right? But you want to identify in that assembly drawing, you want to identify each part somehow. You can call it part A, you can call it top or bottom, or, you know, you can give it a name, whatever you want. On the assembly drawing itself, then you create a list of parts, right? A, B, C, D, and their name, right? And often what page they're on. So this is the top piece of the drawing package. Then underneath it are all the details. So, you know, if you call a part A, and, you know, this is part A, it's identified, then whoever's using your drawing package will be able to just like flip the pages and go find part A and then learn everything about part A, all the dimensions, you know, what it's made out of, how thick it is, that kind of stuff, right? So it's called an assembly drawing package, where the assembly's on the front and it's kind of the map to all the drawings underneath. And since you have 8 unique parts, you're going to have 8 different drawings. So the drawing package is at least 9 pages long, right? Because we have the assembly on the front and then all the details down below. Now, if they're really simple details, you can put 2 on 1 piece of paper. That's fine. Okay. They may not be complex, right? It's all just flat pieces of laser cut materials. So a lot of them, you won't even need more than 2 views. You may not even need 2 views. Like one drawing could be, you know, whatever the part is. And if it's got some notches, right? So this drawing here, you don't need a top view and a side view if it's 3/16 thick, right? So a lot of the drawings are actually fairly simple on the project. It's just putting together the package appropriately, where every detail has a title block. So we're going to use B size paper. You can put a title block across the bottom if you want, or you can put it up the side if you want. However you want to do it, it should be the same on every page, right? And then just get all the information filled in for this drawing. So, you know, if it's part A, the name of in the title block should be part A, or whatever you called it, support B, you know. This becomes a map to all the drawings underneath. Good, does that make sense? All right, so the first page will be this assembly page. And then all the pages underneath will be the details. Go back to this critter. So the timeline is, it's all going to be delivered, files and everything, the day of the final, right? That's Tuesday of finals week at 10:30, I think, or 10 o'clock, I think. It's in the calendar. We can look at it in a second. But we want to get all the parts cut in the last week of the term. So next week is Thanksgiving break. So we only have Monday, Tuesday of next week. The week after is the last week of the term. Yeah, it goes so fast. And then finals week. So pretty much all that's left in this class is this project and then the final. So, you know, you got to come up with what you're going to work on as far as your project. I can show you a few of them. Let's go to, where can we go? Good morning. Here, let me just go to it and then I'll share it. Oh, too many things. No, don't close that one. I'll put student. Yeah, so, I mean, you can get hundreds of ideas from here. Where did my screen share go? Oh, here it is. Again, you know, you only want to chew off. I do want it three-dimensional. So there's a lot of flat things that you can do with a laser, but there's a lot of three-dimensional things too, right? So these are pretty crazy stuff. There's an example of a hanging lamp, right? So those are all cut out of flat pieces. So these are all obviously flat, and then the support structure that goes this way is also flat. So you can come up with whatever you want, and there are an endless amount of, projects online. You can steal a project online if you want. You just can't steal their drawings. You got to make your own drawings. Somehow yours has to be unique. But these are what the flat patterns are going to look like, right? And then it's all going to come together into something that you want to make. And like I said, I have the lights. If you want to go for some kind of a light, a desk lamp or a hanging light or anything, I have these. These are available. They're cheap. I think they were like $10 each. And you can use it for your project. If you want to keep your project and have a light in it, then you can just order it online and buy one of these things. They're super cheap. But I do have them available, so that's kind of nice. But it can be anything. Like, just start looking and you'll find some crazy ones. Like I said, we've had students do clocks and things before that actually function with like a grandfather clock that had it was nuts. But that's back when we restricted you to one piece. We just said, oh, do this, and they were out of control. So now you only have one piece of plexiglass that we provide. I think I do say that if you want to buy another one, you can. But you don't have to. We're just looking for 8 unique pieces, and these are unique, right? This is way more than 8. So 8's not a difficult target. It's a pretty simple target. Got a robot there made out of flat pieces. It's kind of fun. Yeah. So yeah, get creative. Whatever you want. Speaker box, that's all flat pieces. So this one, they actually scar it. You put in a series of cuts, and you can look online how to do this, like for the right ratio. And then you can take your flat piece and it'll actually be super flexible and you can curve it. So these are flat piece cuts. They're just kind of scored and cut enough to where they become super flexible and you can curl them around things. So you can get some round features. A little tricky to do, but yeah. The lamp. So hard to see the 8 unique pieces because I'm guessing all these sides are the same. But it looks like it does snap together with tabs and slots, right? That's a requirement. So yeah, you can. We have had people make guitars before, small guitars. That was pretty fun. That's pretty much it. The timeline again is everything's done here and submitted, and everything must be cut by the 1st. So start here, work on it, a few days before Thanksgiving, maybe get your design done, be ready to cut sometime in here. I'm available in here Monday through Thursday. I can come on Friday, but I don't have to. I don't have any classes on Friday. So you can arrange a time to cut outside of class for sure. If you want to cut outside of class, get it cut early, check things, and then assemble, and you'd be done. Questions? We talked about the drawing package before you walked in. Yeah, so that's the kind of the AutoCAD piece is the drawing package for the project. Has to have an assembly drawing on the front of the package. And then in that assembly drawing, it should show all the parts in assembled form. That can be 2-dimensional or 3-dimensional, up to you. And I'll show you how to change that grid in AutoCAD for 3-dimensional sketching. So for now, the 3-dimensional stuff we're doing in AutoCAD would just be sketching, but you can do a pretty good job. And then in that assembly drawing, basically you're creating a map. So you're going to name each part, and then underneath that drawing are going to be the details of each part. Yep. And actually different layouts for each one. So remember, layouts are like sheets of paper. Yeah. So let me get AutoCAD going and I can show you a couple things. Yeah, so I would do that in the assembly page, on the front page, just in a general note on that page that all parts are made out of 3/16 acrylic. So yeah, that's a good idea. All right, I'm going to stop the share and reshare with AutoCAD. Just open anything. Yeah, so the file package that you submit, see the layouts down here, one would say assembly, and that would be the assembly drawing. One would say part A, or if you name them, you know, base, whatever. But you would have a different layout for every part. Yeah, so the way to do that in model space is I might draw one part here, and then I might draw another part over here, or you can use layers like and get them on top of each other if that's more friendly. And then I might have another part over here, right? And then everything's in model space. Does that make sense? And then I just set the layouts, you know, I set them up for each part. So I come into circle, right? And I go into here and I go, okay, I don't need those guys, right? Does this make sense now? Yeah. And on here would be a title block, and then I would have, it would be fully dimensioned. I'd have all the information I need about the circle, right? Yeah. And then this one, I could keep going, would be rectangle, and it would be all the rectangle part. And then when you print it, you're just printing the layouts. You know, other folks that don't know AutoCAD don't realize all these are in the same file. They just look like separate drawings, right? So then you'd have one for the assembly too that showed it all assembled. Okay. So it can be like if you use the grid, see if I can do this. I haven't done this in a long time. You can't even turn the grid on. It's this one. Yeah, thanks. Yeah. So let's go. Oh boy, some great typing. No, I wanted the dialog box. All right, grid settings. So what I did is I right-clicked on the grid. Sometimes I just have to let my brain do it, and then I can explain to you what I just did. So I right-clicked on the grid, went to grid settings, right? In here, there should be a isometric choice, and it's right here. Isometric snap. And then there should be for grid an isometric choice. Anyone see it? Well, this might flip it. Let's see what it does. Grid on, snap on. I have it at isometric. I'll say, okay, yeah, it did it. All right, so what it does is it gives you this angled grid. So it's going to work exactly the same. When I go to draw a line, though, I can kind of grab this 30-degree line super easy, right? So I'll keep it here. I'll do it in a different spot. But it allows you to kind of do this three-dimensional thing, you know? It really hurts my head to do it, but it does work. So you can kind of line up these points and make it's not going to be dimensionally accurate because it's still gonna like be real lines, right? But you know, you can quickly kind of make some kind of a three-dimensional thing, right? Like circles don't cooperate. If I draw a circle, that's not on a surface or as a regular circle. So you'd have to kind of play with ellipse to get an ellipse or circular, feature here. So, is it worth the time to try? It's up to you. If you want to play with it, go for it. It's a little cumbersome to work with. I believe you can flip the axis also, as I recall. I don't see it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know where it's at. Pretty sure you can do it though. Like you can get these horizontals going off and to the right. I want to say it's some kind of a quick snap. No, I don't see it. Anyway, I mean, obviously you can still draw these lines. You just kind of line up the crosshairs. So if I go here and I want to do off of the 30, I have to make sure that all those line up, and I just find the spot. See how they all go through an intersection right there? So you can still do it, but it's a little more difficult going off and to the right. And it'll be there, like you can turn it off. And you can see the crosshairs. Tab? Nope, not tab. Control. Nope. There's the quick button that flips that dang thing. So instead of that red being there, it would be off to this side. But I could be switching my softwares too. But even though you turn the grid off, once you have that set, it'll stay there, right? You can still go off at these different angles. All right. Questions? Or are we good? Yeah. Yeah, so typically it's done in visualizer's gone. So stop share, turn visualizer back on, screen share, share. So if you do it in 2D, it's done in this what's called section form, or like a cut. So this is 3 parts, right? Part A, part B, and then a bolt, 3 parts. So instead of drawing it 3-dimensionally, I just drew it flat. And you'd want to pick the view that makes the most sense, that shows the most amount of parts, right? So, and then it's typically shown in what's called section, which means it's cut. Like you're slicing through this assembly and you can see all the insides basically. And then we give it a hatch pattern, and you change the hatch pattern per part. And then that gives it a better feel for, oh, that part's different than that part. And then I just left no hatch pattern on the bolt, and that was pretty identifiable, right? So it is like a flat view. It's like a front view, but then it's like you cut that front view and you can show the different parts. Like yours potentially could be, I mean, it's going to be hard for a laser cut project to do this. So you'll have to kind of get creative on how you show all the parts. Maybe you need 2 of them on that front page to show all the parts. But like if I was doing that lamp thing over there, it's going to look like this. It's not going to look 3-dimensional at all. It'll look something like this, and then, maybe there's other parts. Trying to visualize that thing over there, maybe there's something in here. It could look just like a mess, not that descriptive, right? So what I would do, if it does look like that, and you can call out these different parts, A, B, C, assuming these are all different, that's good, because that sets up a map to the drawings underneath that are going to be a lot more descriptive. But I'd probably then hand sketch, something that was a little more descriptive of my project. Right? And hand sketching is fine. Just hand sketch up, the lamp kind of thing, along with this kind of thing. Or you can just do a hand sketch and call the parts out. That's A again, I guess. Right? So if you don't want to go through trying to make AutoCAD do this three-dimensional sketch for you, you could hand sketch it. Or you can just do a flat. Any of those options. Does that help? Yeah. Okay. A lot of times you'll see hand sketches next to AutoCAD drawings, even in layout form. Like, if you do a part that's something like this, and then the top view is something like this. Thank you. Right. And then maybe there's a side view over here. A lot of times you'll see up in the upper right corner. And this can be, if you're using SolidWorks, it'll develop this for you. But this is just adding clarity to the three views, right? It's not dimensioned typically, but it's like, oh, this is the thing. And here are the three views. You can put it together in your head a lot faster that way. So that's perfectly a great idea. It would have, yeah. I was like looking at it, really, it would take me like maybe 30 minutes to figure out what's actually going on. Right. So a lot of times, if you have the object, it's beneficial to kind of sketch it out to understand how those views work. And then this is definitely helpful for whoever's reading the drawing, right? They understand that there's a slot and the slot goes all the way through, and it just makes more sense. So this can definitely be done. Yeah, we're going to make them. Yeah, we're going to cut them and make them. So good question. Yeah, no, that will be tricky. So the only thing I would say that, like, one of these is going to be the assembly, right? So what I do is, set it all up, title block, get your assembly AutoCAD portion done, and then just leave a corner blank. And then you can print it. You could do your isometric sketch on there if you wanted to add an isometric sketch. Then you'd have to CAM scan or PDF it, right? And then just submit that instead of, the assembly part. Because you're going to submit this file that's going to have everything in it. But then along with that, you could submit files that you've hand sketched on. That would be the way to do it. And then as far as the cut goes, you should have one of these that is actually named cut. So I know which one to grab, right? So the cut would be more like, I've still got that stupid, however you assemble these things. So you're going to want to copy because you don't want to move stuff around. Once you get it done in one of these layouts, you don't want to move stuff around, right? You want to leave it right there. So you just make copies of everything and then organize it into the cut pattern. Does that make sense? I see some blank stares. So all that gets done in here, right? So I move things around. So what I would do is I would move this back to where here, I should do it from here. Oh yeah, pretty good. Lucky guess. Right. So here's that one. I think this was going to be the rectangle. Right. So then this one is rectangle. This would be the assembly, right? So then I would want to come into here. You don't want to move any of these around because they're associated with a location in your layouts. You know, the circle is in the right spot for that. The rectangle is in the right spot for that. The assembly is not here yet. So I would say copy, grab all my parts, move them over here somewhere, and then start to think about, oh, what do I need, you know, for my cut layout? I want these kind of close to each other, right? So I'm moving the copies around, and then this becomes not any of that. I go find it, there it is. This becomes the cut layout, right? Yeah. So then all of these layouts are still good, right? And maybe I need more space. You know, you can move things up and down. You have an infinite amount of space here to organize stuff. So good, excellent. And then of course, each layout needs to have a title block, the same title block, just different names and maybe different scales, depending on how big the part is. And then the cut absolutely needs to be 1:1, right? That's the scale that needs to be into here is 1:1. So it's got to fit on this. And the cut, you probably want to make, I'll go through that just so you know how to do it. The size of your plastic, right? So you know it fits. So I don't know that they'll have 16 by 24, but we should be able to do a custom. Maybe a custom. Is there no custom? Oh, come on, we can do this. Why am I not seeing it? Ooh. Plot offset, scale, don't want any of that. Don't want fit to paper. I want to choose my own paper size. And it's in layout. Oh, that's might be it. Thank you. None. Maybe. I get a lot more choices, don't I? I still don't get custom though. Is there a 16 by 24? There's a 17 by 22. That's close. You could probably, oh no, we need to go bigger. So here's what you could do is go, yeah, go bigger and then just make your viewport the right size, right? So then this thing, is, I don't know that you can size that thing. I guess we could make, so the viewport that allows us to see the model is, it's just an object. So it's interesting, you can take it, if you're in paper space, you can move this thing and just kind of get it off the paper, which it's kind of weird, but you can. And then I could make a rectangle. This is probably how I would do it. The size of the plastic. So then I'm going to put the coordinates in for that. 22 by 16, I think. Because I'm not fully remembering. I think that's right. Right? So that is the size of the plastic. I think that's right. Then I can take the viewport and just move it on top of that rectangle I made. And it'll be the size of the plastic. And I can find my cut and then make it 1:1. It probably won't fit because I'm just dreaming all this up. And it's close. Not really close. Right? But yours will fit because it's got to fit on the plastic. But that might be the way to do it. Just give yourself a bigger piece of paper and then size that viewport to the plastic. And make sure you're 1:1 down here in the viewport. So it'll print 1:1, not be scaled. And I'll double check that because I'll come from here and what I'll do is just go print PDF And then we have to carry it over there and load it into Illustrator and cut, but I'm getting pretty good at that, so should go fine. Famous last words. All right, any other questions on the project? We could go back to the document. But I think you got it. The document is in week 8 and today and right here. Yeah, they're not, that's not a lot different, but yeah, sure. I mean, it is gonna be just flat patterns, so they're not gonna be like a whole lot different. But, you know, just try to think about getting 8 unique pieces. So it's got to be more than a box, which, right, that didn't. If I don't like say something, then I'll get less than I want sometimes, not always. But all right, I think that's it.